The island of Iwo Jima was a place where death clung to the air like smoke. Black volcanic sand swallowed footsteps, and the Japanese defenses were dug so deep they seemed to bleed fire from the earth itself. In this hell, one weapon became both feared and cursed: the flamethrower. The odds were terrifying. Nearly 9 out of 10 flamethrower operators sent on Iwo Jima never return alive. Imagine stepping in a battle knowing your job was so dangerous, your life expectancy could be measured not in months or even weeks, but in minutes. These men carried tanks of fuel strapped to their backs, turning themselves into walking bombs. Japanese snipers, machine gunners, and even artillery crews hunted them with merciless precision, knowing that killing one flamethrower meant saving dozens of their own men. The job was simple on paper: flush enemies out of their bunkers, caves, and tunnels. In reality, it was a death sentence. But why were flamethrowers so cursed? Why did their mission all but guarantee they would never survive? And what drove men to pick up a weapon that all but promised they'd never return? This is the dark truth of Iwo Jima's flamethrower crews. By February 1945, the Pacific War had reached its bloodiest stage. The United States prepared to invade Iwo Jima, a small but strategically vital island just 750 miles from Japan. Its airfields made it the perfect staging ground for American bombers, and the Japanese knew it. The defenders of Iwo Jima had transformed the island into a fortress. Beneath the volcanic rocks stretched an underground city, more than 11 miles of tunnel, hidden bunkers, and firing positions that allowed them to strike unseen. Ordinary infantry fire could barely scratch these defenses. Enter the flamethrower. The men assigned to this role were usually young, barely out of their teens. Many had little combat experience. Yet their job was brutally clear: crawl up to a bunker's slit, unleash a stream of fire, and burn the enemy alive inside. It was one of the few ways to neutralize the Japanese defenses. But there was a problem. A flamethrower operator was a walking target. The tanks of gasoline on his back weighed nearly 70 pounds and offered no protection. If hit, they could explode, with horrifying results. The Japanese quickly recognized this. Snipers were ordered to target flamethrowers first. Enemy soldiers even kept grenades ready specifically for when a flamethrower appeared, for the men carrying them. The mission was cursed before it even began. And as the Marines fought their way across the island, these soldiers discovered just how terrifying their job would become. Each advance across Iwo Jima meant storming pillboxes and caves filled with fanatical defenders. Machine guns raked the beaches, mortars rained from hidden positions, and every cave seemed to hide another ambush. Flamethrower crews worked in pairs or small squads, often accompanied by riflemen to provide cover. But in the chaos of battle, cover was never guaranteed. Imagine crawling through volcanic ash, bullets snapping overhead, your back heavy with tanks of fuel that every enemy soldier wants to ignite. The sound of your weapon, a short, choking hiss before a roar of flame, announced your presence to everyone nearby. Once you fired, you were exposed, marked, and hunted. Even the act of firing was brutal. The flamethrower's range was short, barely 20 to 40 yards. To burn out a bunker, operators had to get dangerously close, often within grenade range. And once they unleashed fire into a cave, the oxygen inside exploded, sometimes blowing back at the operator. The psychological toll was immense. Flamethrower crews knew their life expectancy was among the shortest of any combat role. Every mission could be their last. They saw comrades vanish in explosions, heard the screams of enemies engulfed in fire, and lived with the knowledge that few would survive long enough to tell the tale. And yet, the mission never stopped. The Japanese were relentless. For every bunker destroyed, another waited just a few yards away. Flamethrower operators were pushed forward again and again, burning through their own fear as much as the enemy defenses. But the horror reached its peak when the Marines realized something even worse. The Japanese defenders had adapted. They learned to let flamethrower crews approach, then open fire from hidden angles. Many flamethrower operators were cut down before they even reached firing range. Others never even saw the shots that killed them. A single well-placed round could pierce a fuel tank, turning a soldier into a living torch. Survivors recalled the chilling sight of comrades bursting into flames, their screams drowned by the roar of battle. It was no wonder that flamethrower crews were considered the deadliest job on Iwo Jima. Over 90% never made it home. Their weapon may have been terrifying, but it painted a target on their backs brighter than anything else on the battlefield. And yet, without them, the battle might have dragged on even longer, costing even more American lives. Their sacrifice was both horrific and essential. But that left one final haunting question. By the end of the battle, Iwo Jima had claimed nearly 7,000 American lives and over 20,000 Japanese. The flamethrower crews were among the hardest hit, their survival rates so low that few lived to tell their stories. Those who did survive carried scars far beyond the battlefield. The sights, the screams, the knowledge that their role made them both executioner and target. It was a burden few could escape. Many veterans avoided speaking of it entirely, as if silence was the only way to contain the horror. Historians now recognize the flamethrower as both one of the most feared and most cursed weapons of World War II. Its operators were essential, yet doomed, caught in a role that demanded ultimate sacrifice. Perhaps the deadliest truth is not the weapon itself, but the silence left behind by those who never returned. So when we ask, why did 90% of flamethrower operators die on Iwo Jima? The answer is both brutally simple and endlessly haunting, because war made their survival nearly impossible. But maybe the real question is this: what does it say about war itself when victory rests on the backs of men who were never meant to come home?